Okay, hi. This is my first video, and I've never made a video before, so there's that. Um, and also, this is a video about high school, so yay. I've clearly aged myself here. Okay, so I put a disclaimer at the beginning of the video. I'm not gonna repeat it because I know well in my heart I forgot about whatever's on there. I'm going to be making videos about stories from high school because my high school life was way too eventful for me to not monetize off of it. And I'm going to be making the first video off of the most infamous person that has ever entered my life. For the sake of the story, her name's gonna be Emma, and that's what I'm gonna refer to her as. Do not try to find her, not because it matters, but because I don't care. Honestly, you're not gonna find anything interesting if you try to do that. So, Emma, I met back in grade 6 when she transferred to my school, and I thought she was the most funny, talented, coolest, and smartest person I've ever met, on top of just being extremely beautiful. One of the three best friends that I had, who I thought were all friends with each other, they were not. I did not know this. This I found out later. But for the while that I did know it, we were all best friends all throughout middle school, going into high school. I think they really made COVID one of the most eventful, but also just the most enjoyable times of my life. And grade 9 first semester was honestly just so fun. This story takes up after first semester though, and for context, one of the things that we had as a reoccurring issue that was very consistent with Emma is that she was extremely boy crazy. And she reminded me a lot of Mabel from Gravity Falls, so honestly, I just chalked it off to being like super harmless. There was also a lot of times where she would come up to me and she would be like, "Hey, I'm getting harassed, like these guys, they're not leaving me alone." And I was just like, "Girl, let me deal with them." And I never thought to doubt if she was lying, and I don't think I would ever want to do that. I don't like to believe that people would lie about that kind of thing. But overall, honestly, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. Yeah, sometimes she wouldn't listen to me because something would happen with her newest boyfriend. But honestly, it was just like there wasn't a lot going on in my life at the time for me to warrant any urgency. However, a lot happened during my second semester of grade 9 where I really did need a lot of support. And a lot of the people that I thought would be there were absolutely nowhere to be found, including Emma, which kind of stung a lot because I thought we were close enough that she would care. Now, I'm not going to get too much into it. I'll just briefly mention each thing that happened because if I tried to get into detail, this would be a whole video on its own. Basically, my family flew back to our home country because we were going to lose somebody, and then we did lose somebody, and then we lost somebody else, and then I was also dealing with a lot of food poisoning, not anyone's fault. It's just my stomach could not handle the food in my home country, and I felt so bad. Me and my entire family were dealing with a lot of post-COVID symptoms because obviously COVID, thank you. I don't know who got the worst of it, but what I do know is I had a lot of body aches. I had so many migraines. It made my nausea like 20 to 30 times worse. I was already dealing with being anemic and just overall being extremely weak. And the worst thing is, that's not even all of it, but I don't really want to tell more because that is all way more personal. But that kind of pain and misery happened for a good 2 months, and then I came back and I thought, oh, I could probably talk to somebody that cares about me. You get the gist. On top of this, by the way, forgot to mention, absolutely should, I have extremely bad depression, like very severe. So I was not in a great headspace, and after I came back, I was pretty ready to just kind of not be here anymore. During the first week back, I was so sensitive to practically every single comment that was being made about me, to me, whatever. And the two people that I was so close with ignored me for the entire week. And one of them, Emma, left me while I was in the classroom crying. And I still remember this. And she came back and she went, "Oh, Oh no, did I hurt your feelings? Good chance you did. There was one thing where I remember I made a butterfly little note for her because I was really into origami, and I gave it to her. And I remember we were at the robotics after school club, and she dropped something. And I was wondering what she dropped that she was so urgently trying to find. And I kept asking her, like, hey, what did you drop? Like, let me help you find it. And she was like, no, like, I have to find this, but it's, like, super important. So I was, like, waiting there for her to find it. And she was like, no, just go on ahead. And, I wait a bit. I came back, and she picked up the origami butterfly note I'd made her, and she had unfolded it, erased the contents, and wrote her own message to give to a guy that she liked and was trying to refold it back into a butterfly. And all I could think is, the way I could have just did that for you, like if you wanted a butterfly note to give to someone, you could have asked me. And I think one of the worst things she did that week was on the Friday. She came up to me and started the conversation off with, oh my god, like I heard you're having a lot of issues with homework, and there's like a homework club after school, and I wanted you to come with me. And I was thinking, oh, you do care about me. So I went there all naive and smiling and happy. And then we get there, and I see a guy. And it's a guy she's flirting with. And she was flirting with the tutor. And I was like, why am I here? And I looked at her and I said, oh, I'm gonna leave now because I actually have homework to do. And she's like, no, stay. Like, I need you. I can't stay. I can't talk to him without you here. Why? Why do you need me? I'm confused. I have homework to do. I don't think that's attractive to anyone. By the way, make note of this guy. We're gonna call him Wu Yang because he wanted to be called Wu Yang, because that's great. But on a more serious note, I wasn't, again, in a great headspace, and there were plans that I made during that summer that were not good. I don't really mention the depression part to most people because I know a lot of people either think I'm trying to make this about a pity story or something, I'm not sure, but this is my YouTube channel, and I think I'm gonna want to talk about what I was feeling. And I'm not the only one who has depression. I think 90% of the school had depression. That included Emma and Wu Yang. So I'm not saying this to be like, oh, I'm just a special little snowflake. It's just something to keep in mind. Now, I was friends with Wu Yang and Emma, and I was noticing that Emma would frequently go to Wu Yang. This is really stupid, this name. I hope you're enjoying this. But in my little depressed brain, I was thinking, oh, well, if they become friends, then Emma won't need me anymore, and I could just go on with my plan in the summer, and I won't have to feel guilty for leaving anyone behind. Now, something I want to mention is I'm also like a very loving person. Some of my closest friends, if not all of my closest friends, are used to me hugging them and sleeping on them whenever I'm bored or just close and, oh, I love you anytime they leave. So when my closest friends all ignored me for a week, I didn't really know what to do. Also, I thought I was just really boring at this point. My grades had fallen through, and I was not talking to literally anyone else beyond these people. I think one of the most shocking things that happened was that Wu Yang became friends with me, and I genuinely cannot explain to you why. I don't get it. According to him, he thought I was a really kind person and I needed help, and he is single-handedly one of the reasons why I'm still here, so thank you, Wu Yang. Anyways, to Emma, she kind of thought it was a really funny joke to start shipping me with him, and it wasn't fun at all because he was like the only friend I had, and the last thing I wanted was for him to get really grossed out and stop talking to me because it sucked. I was really lonely, man. Me and Wu Yang ended up hanging out and watching The Owl House all the time. We would watch it during the days that Emma wouldn't go to robotics, because she was supposed to go to robotics with me and then would ditch repeatedly to meet a bunch of guys, which, by the way, I'm going to list off not their names but letters or numbers for each guy so that we don't get mixed up here. Okay, we're gonna go with letters because numbers is not working with me. So the first guy that she used my butterfly note for was guy A, and then there was a guy B who she was dating partially, like kind of not, and then there was guy C who we're gonna call which is Wu Yang. Um, and then there's guy D who she was actively trying to flirt with. And she was successful, so I'm not gonna even get mad at her game. I guess she's just really good at what she does. But what I do know is that, like, everyone knew that she, at this point, was with guy D. And that is very important to keep in mind. Just put a pin in it. So back to me. Um, at some point, I went to school early. It wasn't even a big deal. I just went to school early and I saw Wu Yang because he was like, hey, I'm bored. And I was like, okay, I have homework. You're going to deal with me coming to school and just doing work. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't think that was going to be a big deal, but according to Emma, it was because she went to my house first thing in the morning to walk with me to school. And I checked my messages. She never told me beforehand. I do not recall a conversation beforehand, and she had not done this ever. At least not any time as of recent. So, anyways, she got really annoyed and she ignored me for the whole day. And I was like, okay, I'm going to stay home until you show up this time so you don't get mad. And then I promptly forgot it was a late start. So I stayed at home until the time that I thought would have been the start of class. And I thought, well, she didn't show up. And then I went to school. And then I was an hour early. And I was like, I'm too lazy to go back home. It's not far from my house, but it was enough of a walk that I just didn't care enough to go back to double check if she would be there. And I was checking my messages and she had not messaged me. So anyways, Wu Yang shows up, and then right when the late start kind of started, she showed up at the front doors and she saw me and she was very upset. And I'm assuming it was because Wu Yang was next to me, but also it kind of didn't make sense because Wu Yang was guy C and she was with guy D. But whatever. What I do know is she ignored me during English, and then we both went to the after school club that we usually go to. And I waited for her towards the end of the club because I noticed she wasn't there. And somebody told me, oh, she's with guy D. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Very in character. And while I was waiting, one of my other friends asked me if I could walk them to their building because they were feeling lightheaded and they were anemic. And I was like, I got you. I know what you mean. So we started walking to her building. I didn't think I needed to say goodbye because she had already ditched me. At this point, Wu Yang also was leaving, and I don't know if we were left at the same time, but what I do know is that we saw each other at the intersection where we all kind of just meet, and I dropped her off, and then I went home. When I got home, one of my newer friends that I had met in the first semester was messaging me that Emma was screaming down the hallways that I leave people for guys, and I had ditched her repeatedly, and I never cared about her, and I never listened to her, and I didn't think she was worth my time. Personally, that felt kind of ironic. But also, it was straight up a lie. So when I came back to school the next day, and also on messages, I was like, hey, why did you do that? Why are you lying about me? Why do you think I'm ignoring you? Why? And she basically just brushed me off and was like, no, like, I guess I was just too, like, in my emotions, being over dramatic. I didn't mean it. I didn't think this would happen again. I should have known better. One of the things that did develop was that I did end up getting a crush on Wu Yang. It was very minor, and it was just because she was close, and I knew this. Obviously, the heart doesn't care. And I was like, I should probably tell him. And at some point, I ended up telling him. Not in a way of like I'm confessing to him, but in just like, hey, sorry. It happened. Oops. And he was totally fine with it, and we just became friends. And we were joking about it, and we were like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we told Emma, like, you told me, and then this happened? And I was like, you know what? You're right. That would be really funny. especially since she was repeatedly shipping us, and I didn't think it would be an issue because he's Guy C and not Guy D. By the way, around this time, she also told me straight up that she didn't want to be with Guy D anymore and she wanted to be with Guy E. And the reason she didn't want to be with Guy D is because he liked her. I don't get it. Me and Wu Yang thought, hey, you should probably tell him in person. And she was like, I'm gonna tell him online. And we were like, no, please don't do that. You have been actively dating this guy for like 2 months. Please do not try to do that on text. Just tell him in person. Now, I have no idea if she ever did, but what I do know is that she started dating Guy E, and Guy D was still pursuing her, so I'm not entirely sure if he ever was told. So, towards the end of the school year, a lot of my friends, including her, were shipping me with this guy. And at this point, it was just like an inside joke. And I was just happy to be friends with somebody who cared about me. So there were times where I'd be like, oh yeah, like da 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 da. And I'd just make up something. And he would do the same thing. He would go along with whatever I was saying. And again, it wasn't a big deal. I don't think anyone really cared that much. But, anyways, during that summer, there was a field trip for the club that we had all been going to. And I was really excited to go with my friends. And one of them, Wu Yang, right? I told him about my smell problem. I had told Emma this as well. And when I say smell problem, let me explain. Basically, when I smell things that are really strong, it gives my head a really bad migraine. And ever since post COVID symptoms, it makes me really nauseous, it makes me really dizzy, and it gave me a lot of joint pain. I'm not entirely sure the physics of on this, or the chemistry, or the biology, or whatever, but what I do know is that it was happening and it hurt. And it happened a lot whenever I was in the vicinity of anything gasoline, perfume, anything. Vapes, especially. Bathrooms were not my place to be. And one of the things is that I kind of wanted to sleep on somebody while I was doing this, and I asked him if he was okay with me sleeping on his shoulder, and he was like, totally, I'm fine with it. And I was like, please do not wear perfume, it will ruin the whole point of me trying to do this. Anyways, so this was kind of just like a plan. It wasn't like a full on plan, it was just something that we decided we could do. And during the trip, we get on this train, and I go down to sit next to him and I sleep on his shoulder. And Emma, being Emma, thought, "Oh, that's so cute. Let me do the same thing." And she sleeps on his other shoulder, and like took the seat that I was gonna sit on. So I had to sit on the seat where the pole was basically between, and it was just so uncomfortable. I don't know if he was uncomfortable. I don't really care. All I know is I was uncomfortable and I was like, why? I don't want to be here anymore. The only reason I stayed there was because I was actively in so much pain by the time I sat down. I didn't want to get up until we got to our destination. By the moment that we had gotten off the train, she immediately took Guy C's hands, aka Wu Yang, and ran off the train. And I was like, you know what? Take him. I don't care. We got to the destination. He has done his duties. And I decided to hang out with my other friend, who was also one of the seniors in the high school. And they were amazing. We hung out at, I believe, the Indigo of the huge mall that was in the area. And when we got to the McDonald's, we sat down. I didn't order anything because I didn't have money. And when I sat down, Wu Yang was beside me, I was beside this other person, and Emma saw this and came up to me and said, "Hey, do you want to come with me to go over to this other store that's completely irrelevant from everyone else, but I want to go there, so do you want to come with me?" I just sat down and I was so like, why? Just looked at her and I was like, I'm sorry, I can't go with you, I'm exhausted. And she was like, please. And I was like, no, I'm sorry. So she huffed and puffed and then she left. After this, we went to the movie theater. I believe we took some photos, all four of us together, and she was taking photos with Guy D. So don't come at me and be like, "Hey, did you not know that she was close? Like, if she was close with him or not?" I don't know. Why would you invite him to go into the photo booth with you, like, of your own will, and take photos with him, with me, and with Wu Yang if you weren't okay with him? And also, she did end up going with Guy D to that other place, anyways, so I didn't think much of it. When we got to the movie, though, me and Wu Yang thought, oh, we're gonna go sit somewhere else, and then they're gonna be able to sit by themselves, right? And Emma came up to us and was like, "No, I want to sit with you guys. I don't want to sit with him." And we were like, "Okay, clearly you don't want to sit with him. We're not gonna let you sit with him." So anyways, she sat on my side. I think she wanted to sit on Wu Yang's side, but I don't really know how it ended up happening. But she was on my side, Wu Yang was on my other side, and we were watching the movie. There's nothing eventful that happened during the movie. But what was eventful was when we left the movie and we were all holding hands, like all of us. We were just doing it as a joke to walk around the streets and hold hands with each other. And then by the time that we got to the train, she grabbed Wu Yang's hand and ripped it from, I guess, mine or just somebody else, and just like ran to a different cart on that same train. And again, I didn't really care. I was just like, I guess that happened. And I went and I sat down and I asked my new senior friend, who I wasn't very close with, but I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry, this is really weird to ask. Are you okay with me sleeping on your shoulder? Because I'm in a lot of pain." And they were like, "Totally. You can sleep on my shoulder anytime. Like, I'm totally fine with it." And I was like, "Thank you so much." Now, if you haven't noticed, I am still friends with Wu Yang, and Wu Yang gave me two bits of perspective that I'm going to add into the story. One of them was that when he was dragged off onto the cart, he was just as confused as me, according to him, and he was just like, "Why are we here?" And Emma was like, "Oh, the group is making me uncomfy. I want to stay here with you." And he was like, "Okay, but why are we in a completely different cart? Are you gonna talk to me?" He's like, "No, could you just like sit with me? Like, I'm so lonely." And I guess he got fed up after like not even 2 minutes or something, and started walking down and went through the train to get to where we were, and jump scared the crap out of me when I woke up. We get off the train, and Emma runs, finds me, grabs me by the hand, and was like, "Hey, let's go to Burger King. We have time to kill." And I was like, "Sure, let's go." I don't know. I really don't know why I decided to go with her. I think a part of me just was like excited to have my best friend back. So after this, she started summer school, and one of her courses was a art class. And she invited me to the art gallery that was being held at the school, and she called it a party. And I want you to take note of the fact that she called it a party. Put a pin in that. And during that summer, I recall asking her what she would like me to do at the party, because she was very distant the entire summer break. She didn't text me, we didn't meet up at all. And she only texted Wu Yang, and I only knew about this through Wu Yang. And she basically told me, I believe the day before, that she didn't want me to talk to Wu Yang anymore because she felt like I was ignoring her and I was only there to see him. And I was like, "You know what? If you want to be delusional, I guess we'll be delusional, and I will just ignore him the whole day. That's totally fine." So, anyways, forgot to mention, she invited me, Wu Yang, and did not tell me she invited one other guy. We're gonna call him Guy F, because why not? When we got to the school, I said hi to Wu Yang, and he already knew I was going to ignore him, so I just told him briefly, like, "Hey, by the way, I'm ignoring you the whole day." And he was fine with it. And I tried to talk to Emma. She made some really cool art, so I just kept being like, "Oh my god, this is so cool. How'd you come up with this? Oh my god, I love this. This is amazing." The whole time she ignored me. Whole time. And I didn't understand why. Because she told me I was neglecting her, and then here she is just straight up like, she would, I would be beside her and it'd be like, "Oh, this is really nice." And she'd just walk away. And I was like, "Why?" Anywho, so apparently she wasn't allowed to sit for some reason, and she wasn't allowed to leave the building. And when we found out that she forgot the soda, not like us, like the teacher told us, I was like, "Oh, I could totally get it for you, so you could stay here and you can keep your mark." And she was like, she didn't say anything, actually. And then we walked to the classroom where her backpack was, and then right when she took out her wallet, she went, "By the way, don't take the guys with you." Why would I take the guys with me? I'm getting soda. And it's not even like big soda, it's like the mini soda cans. And I didn't even know those existed, I'll admit. But even still, when she told me, I was just like, "What? Why would they want to come with me to pick up soda? So why would I ask them?" But since she said it as a joke, I said, "Well, maybe I will." And I kind of like sped walk out of the classroom. And you could not have prepared me for the fastest sprint I've ever seen. She like ran past me so fast my hair flew in the wind, and then jumped on Wu Yang and went, "No, I'm lonely. Don't take him." After that, I just looked at the guys and I was like, "Hey, who wants to get soda with me?" And guy F was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go get soda." And so we went to the grocery store, we got some soda, and on our way back, I remember telling him like, "Hey, I feel like Emma is ignoring me, but I'm a little worried about her cuz she's not really doing great. So, if it's all right, could you like make sure she's being like you're accompanying her and stuff, because even if she doesn't want to talk to me, I'd rather she had someone to talk to." So anyways, we get to the top floor and I go to where the party is and I see Wu Yang sitting alone. No Emma in sight. And I was just like, "Oh, strange. I guess she went to the bathroom." And then I sat down after I put the soda away with Guy F. And we were talking to Wu Yang. He didn't mention anything about Emma. So I decided to just bring it up. And I was like, "Hey, by the way, where's Emma?" And he just went, "I don't know." "What do you mean you don't know?" "She just left." "What do you mean she just left? She didn't even. The moment that you guys left, she just went away somewhere. I don't really know where." "You mean to tell me she did all that and she just didn't stick around at all?" "Yeah, she didn't." Anyways, this party was like not that long, but it felt long with everything that happened. I remember the two guys left midway because they were getting bored because she wasn't doing anything. And then she got mad at me and was like, "Hey, go tell them to come back." And I was like, "Excuse me?" And she's like, "Yeah, go tell them to come back." And I'm like, "I'm staying here with you. I thought you wanted to talk to me." And she's like, "You don't even care about me. You don't even want to listen to what I have to say. I, woman, I give up, I give up, I give up." I just realized I forgot to mention on the walk there, she did tell me, like, the only thing that she told me was that not everyone wants to talk to her, not everyone likes her. And I was like, that's pretty normal. Not everyone's gonna like you, you know? And I remember her telling me, "I'm not like you. It's not the same for me. And yet you get along with people better than me." Anyways, one of the last things I remember at the party was that I recall I was sitting down between the two guys, and then one of them asked Emma, like, "Hey, could you get me some water?" Right? Considering she called herself the host, you'd think that she would listen. She didn't care. She was just talking about herself over and over again, not to me, but just like in general. She was just complaining about how bad her feet hurt and how stressful she's been. Stressful she's been. But anyways, I got up to get us both a drink because I was like, "I'm thirsty too. I have a headache. I feel like I have a fever. Something's wrong with me." So I went to go grab something and I realized there was nothing there. So I was like, "Oh, that makes sense." And then I came back and she was sitting right where I was sitting between the two of them after she told us that she couldn't sit at all and told Wu Yang to take off the belt of her dress because it was too tight on her stomach. The last thing that happened there was I was exhausted and my head was spinning so much, so I was told Guy F, like, "Hey, could you tell Emma that I'm gonna leave early? Like, I feel like crap. I don't know what to do." And I waited like 4 minutes for him to find her, and he came back and told me, "Yeah, she told you to just leave because you don't care about her at all." And I was so pissed, bro. So I just left. After this, I went home. I think we had some event with some family friends, and then I had to come back. And it was still on my mind, so I texted her, like, "Hey, that wasn't a party. Like, you weren't being a host at all." And she just kept being like, "Oh, well, clearly you don't understand how much I worked for this. And all you cared about was being with the guys." It got to the point where I genuinely snapped, and I still have that conversation saved somewhere. Remember how I said like I was extremely depressed and yeah, so I hated her so much at this point. It actually surpassed my self-hatred, and I was baffled that that could even happen. I didn't know you could do that to someone. But what I do know is I actually have to thank her for that because I hated her so much, I was gonna live out of spite. I think for the first time I actually cared about standing up for myself, and I blocked her. And I had never felt so much relief and fear. Like, I was very scared. And I felt extremely guilty because I don't know if she considers me her best friend anymore, but maybe deep down inside there, this is gonna hurt. And I felt really bad. But also, I was like, I hate you. Oh my god, why are you like this? You're so awful. Actually, the reason I snapped was because of one trigger, and it's really funny and stupid. One of my favorite bands is Half Alive, and my favorite song at the time was Time's Always Right to Fix What's Wrong. So I put it on my note, and it wasn't even about her, but her smarts thought it was about her, and she put on her note, sorry, not sorry. This is where you think I'd be done. I am not done. I came back to school thinking it'll be fine. I just won't talk to her. I won't go out of my way to be near her. When I came back to school, though, I was greeted by a service dog before I saw one of my closest friends. And after we sat down, one of my friends from the year before, she asked me if such and such and so was true. And it was about Emma. And I was like, what? What do you mean? And basically, what Emma did was she told all of my friends a different story and different lies about me for no reason other than she just wanted to, I guess, get back at me. But I don't know what she would get back at me for because I didn't do anything. It was giving the evil Starfire from freaking Teen Titans. It consisted of her being like, oh, she was dating someone who was 4 years older than her and she was just worried about me. And when she brought it up with me, I just compared it to her old relationships. But her relationships are so toxic, so that's not fair. When obviously, I didn't date this guy. And not only that, she never, at no point did she ever bring this up at all. She doubled down and told somebody else that I wasn't asexual for some reason. And a lot of her stories were based on this party that she was hosting. Remember that word? Party. She basically said I sat in the hallway of her party and I didn't sit down on the chairs. There were no chairs. I didn't play any of the games with them. I didn't eat any food. There was no food for us to eat, really. It was like crackers and something. And one of the things that she told Guy F, because he was obviously at that party, so she can't lie about something that happened at that party. So instead, she told him, oh, she tries to baby me and she read over me in my English AP class when I'm in advanced English. I'm in your class too. And then you're probably wondering what she told Wu Yang, right? She told Wu Yang, oh, I can't talk about it, but she broke girl code, which basically means I stole her crush. None of this is consistent. Are you kidding me? Anyways, there was this other piece of perspective I'm gonna get from Wu Yang. Actually two things, because this was kind of funny to me. One of them was that she was really mad that I had an iPhone, and she was complaining to him that I had an iPhone around the time that we weren't friends, right? She was basically trying to say it as if like I lied that I don't have an iPhone, not that I miraculously got one in grade 10. But also, and this is the big kicker here, during the time that she was spreading rumors about me, she asked Wu Yang to sleep with her. Emma, if you ever see this video, it's not even I broke girl code, right? Like, what? You were so worried because he was 4 years older than me. Okay, sure. Anyways, I didn't know about that, but that's really annoying. I remember around this time I was getting really depressed again because it was like now the one place where I felt like really safe. I don't feel safe anymore because I don't know who you told these rumors to. I don't know what you said about me because clearly you have the audacity to make up different stories based on who you're talking to. And now, like, obviously no one's gonna tell me if they hear something bad about me from you or from anyone for that matter. Because who tells people when you hear a bad rumor about that person? You just believe it. You don't ask them if that's true. And then there's obviously the people who are like, oh, I don't like drama. I don't like rumors. So they don't care about what's happening to you. On top of the fact that if they hear what she said first and then they tell you, oh, I don't really care about rumors. No, you do. You do. Because you believe what she said. But you don't care because I'm saying it because, oh, I'm backbiting. I'm the one who's spreading gossip here. And I just felt so awful because I couldn't tell if someone didn't like me because of what she said or because of what I did. And I couldn't change anything about this because it was already too late. Apparently, she used the whole summer to do this, and I dropped the ball, I guess. After this, one of my friends, who isn't my friend now, got the bright idea that maybe it's just a misunderstanding and put me and her in a group chat. And halfway through the group chat, her sister got added. She was like, oh, she added herself, but like, obviously she didn't. And she came in there and she started like trying to trash talk me, but like she was talking like a not smart person, so it was kind of weird trying to read that. There was no periods, no sentences, no anything. It was just like a block of text. But basically, she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna see you at the back of the school." Sure, girl, I'll see you at the back of the school. By the way, remember I mentioned that one girl with the service dog? She was the only person who believed me when I told her what happened, and I stuck around her all the time. Oh my god, she's the only reason why I felt anything to go to school anymore. I believe the day that I made up my mind on telling guidance about Emma was when I went to the back of the school to hang out, I think, with Wu Yang and then this girl. And Emma, being Emma, decided, I'm gonna go ahead and crash the party, and came over with, we're gonna call him Guy F. Wait, Guy G. And I was so uncomfortable. Like, you could tell she was trying to make me feel excluded, and she was just like getting between me and my friends, and I gave up. I was like, I can't be here, I don't know what to do. So I started packing my stuff to leave, and my friend, bless her heart, basically looked at her and told her to F off. And Emma, being Emma, clearly has never been talked back to before, starts bawling her eyes out and then going to the side and crying with Guy G. And I hugged my friend, and we hung out at a different place in the park, and I was also sobbing because I think a part of me didn't know if she actually believed me or not, but after she did that, I realized she did, and it meant the world to me. At this point, I decided enough was enough. I'm gonna go to guidance, because clearly now she's more comfortable with harassing me in person, and if it wasn't for my friend and possibly her service dog, I really doubt she would have stopped. Now, guidance was a last resort because they are notorious for being kind of useless in these situations, but I thought, okay, I have everything screenshotted. I'm gonna make sure I say everything word for word. I'm not gonna make anything up. I'm gonna make sure everything's dated, it's on time, and I told the guidance counselor, told her everything, right? And I thought I could at the very least tell her to stop harassing me so she doesn't keep doing this. And I went back to class. And then guidance told me to come back down, and I thought, oh, maybe it's good news. I go to guidance, and this woman looks furious, and she looks at me and starts yelling at me for lying to her and harassing this girl. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then she holds up a piece of paper. She can't tell me what's on this paper, but this paper tells her that I'm a bad person. And this was a written letter from Emma about how bad her life was. And I was so pissed. I gave you all of these screenshots, all of this evidence, tried everything I could, and you just believed her because she wrote you a letter? And I kept asking her what was on this letter after I pointed this out, and she looked a little bit like, oh, maybe I made a mistake, and then told me what's on this letter. One of the things that she wrote on this letter, Emma, is she said my friend who told her to F off at the park was harassing her and told her to meet her at the park. And on top of that, was telling people that I was calling her, I can't say these words on YouTube, but I was calling her words throughout the school. And I was doing them with Guy D. I'd spoken to Guy D, and Guy D isn't my friend. So why would you put him in this letter? Why am I associated with him at all? And the crazy thing is, after this happened, Emma started doing exactly what she said in that letter to me. Anyways, honestly, I didn't really have a lot I could do, so I ended up just telling people that I had a fake boyfriend, and it wasn't, well, I didn't tell anybody I had a fake boyfriend. I told people I had a boyfriend and that was fake. And it was just because I kind of wanted a rumor where I had control over what was said about it. And she did try to contact me a couple times. One of the times she tried to contact me through Wu Yang about how she wanted to give me a letter she wrote in the summer, and like she really cared about me and she really didn't like that I told her I don't think you care about me when she was harassing me. But yeah, I feel like this bothered me on several reasons. One, I had defended her against a lot of people, and now I have no idea if anything that I defended was true because of how blatantly and shamelessly she was lying about everything. But this made me start getting really anxious and beyond just like overly explaining myself all the time, because I was like, I don't want people to think that I'm lying to them. I don't want people to think that I'm a bad person. Like I would overcompensate constantly for any little action I did. In a way though, I guess it gave me character. And this definitely helped me like understand whenever somebody else was in a similar situation. And I hope that if there's anyone who was, they don't feel alone, cuz it makes you feel so isolated if there's nobody with you. Now, this isn't where the story ends with Emma. She continues on in grade 11, but that's going to be a different video because this video has gotten way too long. I'm making these videos both as a way for me to just close this chapter for me, but also because if anybody wants to listen to something while they're eating, I guess this is interesting. And I do think I am enjoying making content. It's giving me a creative outlet in a time where everything kind of feels like everything's ending. I hope you enjoyed, to whoever listened for this long. I'll see you in the next video when I talk about grade 11.